The first thing Avery remembered was the sound. Not the scream of tearing metal or the shriek of failing engines. Those came later, but the quiet before it all unraveled. A soft hum beneath steady hands. A horizon stretched wide and forgiving. The illusion of control. Then came the failure. A flicker across the instrument panel. A warning light that shouldn't have been there. A second one. Then a cascade. Avery's training kicked in faster than fear. Hands moved before thoughts could catch up, adjusting, recalibrating, forcing calm into breath. The aircraft shuddered violently, nose dipping as if bowing to something unseen below. Come on, come on. No response. Below, the green stretched endlessly. Forest, dense, ancient, unforgiving. No clearing. No safe landing. Avery made a decision. Not the right one. Not the wrong one. Just the only one. Brace. The impact fractured the world. Branches snapped like gunfire. Metal screamed. The cockpit filled with smoke and splintering light. Avery's body jerked forward, harness biting hard, pain flashing white-hot and immediate. Then, silence. Time passed strangely after that. When Avery woke again, the world was green and still. The wreckage lay twisted behind, half consumed by the forest as if the earth had already begun reclaiming it. Pain radiated through ribs and shoulder. Blood crusted along the hairline. But alive. Alive. Avery dragged himself free of the cockpit, collapsing onto damp earth. Every breath felt borrowed. Okay, they muttered hoarsely. Okay, step 1. Inventory. A broken comms unit. A half-functioning emergency pack. A canteen, thankfully intact. A flare gun. No signal. No clear sky through the canopy above. No immediate rescue. Avery swallowed hard. Step 2. Survive. The forest did not welcome outsiders. Days blurred into one another. Heat, insects, the constant press of sound, chirping, rustling, unseen movement just beyond sight. Avery rationed water, scavenged what little could be found, and tried, unsuccessfully, to repair the transmitter. Hope thinned. Then, on the 4th day, they were found. It began with a whisper. A twig snapping, not by wind, but intention. Avery froze, every instinct sharpening. Not animals. People. They emerged silently from the trees, painted in earth tones, their presence so seamless with the forest it was as if they had grown from it. Spears held steady. Eyes watchful. Untrusting. Avery raised both hands slowly. I'm not, the voice cracked. I'm not dangerous. They didn't understand. Or perhaps they did, and didn't care. The first strike came without warning. A blunt force to the side, knocking Avery to the ground. Breath vanished. The world spun. Hands grabbed, restrained. Voices rose, sharp, quick, edged with suspicion. Avery didn't fight. Couldn't. They were taken deeper into the forest. Bound at the wrists, half carried when their strength gave out, Avery was brought into a village hidden so well it might have never existed to the outside world. Huts formed in a loose circle. Fires burned low. Children peeked from behind woven walls before being pulled back by wary hands. Avery was thrown to the ground near the center. A figure stepped forward. Older. Strong. Presence undeniable. The chieftain. Their gaze was heavy, assessing. Not cruel, but not kind. Avery met their eyes. I crashed, they said, knowing the words meant nothing. I just need help. Silence. Then a command. Avery didn't understand the words, but understood the tone. And just like that, judgment was passed. The first days were the hardest. Avery was not welcomed. They were tolerated. Given just enough water to survive. Food thrown rather than offered. Always watched. Always at a distance. Any attempt to approach was met with hostility. A shove. A warning. Once, a spear tip pressed lightly, but meaningfully, against their chest. Do not cross this line. Avery learned quickly. Stay quiet. Stay small. Stay alive. Time shifted something. Not quickly. Not kindly. But gradually. Avery began to observe. The tribe moved with purpose, each member part of a rhythm. Older than anything Avery had known. Hunting, gathering, building, everything done with an efficiency born of necessity. And yet, there were gaps. Injuries left untreated beyond simple binding. Tools that could be sharper. Fires that took too long to start. Avery watched. And waited. The opportunity came with a wound. A young hunter returned one evening, blood trailing behind him. A deep gash along his leg, angry and open. The tribe gathered, murmuring, uncertain. Avery stepped forward before thinking. Immediately, 2 spears were raised. Avery stopped, hands lifted. "I can help." They didn't understand, but the bleeding was getting worse. The chieftain hesitated. Then, barely, a nod. Permission. Avery moved slowly, deliberately. Every motion careful. From the emergency pack, they retrieved what little remained, antiseptic wipes, a bandage roll. The tribe watched closely, tense. Avery knelt beside the injured hunter. "This is going to hurt," they murmured. It did. The hunter tensed, nearly pulling away, but was held steady. Avery cleaned the wound, ignoring the sting of their own injuries, protesting the movement. Wrapped it tightly. Secured it. Finished. Then leaned back. Done. The bleeding had stopped. The murmurs changed. It didn't transform everything overnight. But something shifted. The food was no longer thrown, just placed. The water given without force. The distance remained, but softened. Avery was no longer just an intruder. They were something else. Days became weeks. Avery adapted. Learned gestures. Simple words. Enough to understand tone, if not language. Enough to avoid mistakes. In return, Avery offered what knowledge they could. Better ways to secure bindings. Sharpen tools. Reinforce structures. Always cautious. Never pushing too far. Trust grew slowly. Like roots. It was nearly a month after the crash when everything changed. The storm came without warning. Dark clouds rolled in fast, swallowing the sky. Thunder cracked like the earth itself splitting open. Rain followed, heavy, relentless. The village scrambled. Fires extinguished. Structures reinforced. Children gathered. Avery helped where they could, securing loose coverings, tying supports tighter. Then, a scream. Not fear. Panic. A child's voice. Avery turned toward the sound. 2 small figures. Children had been playing near the edge of the village, where the ground sloped. Where the rain had softened the earth. Where the pit had formed. Hidden beneath foliage. Deep. Steep. And now. Collapsed. The children were gone. The tribe rushed toward the site, shouting, frantic. Avery followed. The pit was worse than expected. A narrow opening, widening below. Mud slick. Walls unstable. From within. Crying. Alive. But trapped. The tribe tried everything. Lowering vines. Reaching down. But the sides crumbled with every attempt. Anyone climbing risked collapsing the pit further. Time was slipping. The rain wasn't stopping. And the pit was filling. Avery's mind shifted. Not panic. Process. Assessment. Problem. Solution. Rope, Avery said instinctively, then caught themselves. They gestured instead. Pointing. Pulling motions. The tribe hesitated. Avery grabbed a length of vine, testing it. Not enough. They needed structure. Leverage. Avery's eyes scanned quickly, then landed on a fallen branch nearby. Strong. Thick. Perfect. The idea formed instantly. A pulley. Not perfect, but enough. Avery worked fast. Positioned the branch across the pit's opening, anchoring it against 2 sturdy trees. Wound the vines over it, creating a crude but functional system. The tribe watched, uncertain, but no longer interfering. Avery tied a loop. Gestured to a smaller, lighter villager. "You go down," they said softly, guiding them. The villager hesitated, then nodded. Lowering them was slow. Controlled. The branch creaked, but held. Below, the crying grew louder. Almost there, Avery whispered, though they couldn't be heard. Moments stretched. Then, a signal. They'd reached the children. One at a time, they were secured. Lifted. Slowly. Carefully. The first child emerged soaked, shaking, but alive. A collective breath released. The second came moments later. Weaker, but breathing. When both children were safely on the ground, the tension broke. Voices rose, not in panic now, but relief. The chieftain pushed forward, gathering the children close. Alive. Both alive. Avery stepped back. Exhaustion hit all at once. They sank to the ground, rain washing over them. Hands trembling. Breath unsteady. A shadow fell across them. Avery looked up. The chieftain stood there. For a long moment, neither moved. Then, the chieftain extended a hand. Not in command. Not in warning. In acknowledgement. Avery took it. After that, everything changed. Not all at once, but no longer slowly. The distance closed. Avery was given a place within the village. Food shared, not given. Conversations attempted, not avoided. Laughter, even. Rare at first. Then more frequent. The forest no longer felt like a prison. It felt different. Still wild. Still dangerous. But no longer entirely alone. Months later, when the search party finally arrived, drawn by a repaired signal and a stroke of luck, they found more than a crash survivor. They found someone changed. Someone who stood at the edge of two worlds. Avery looked back at the village. At the people who had once treated them as an enemy. Who now stood watching, not with suspicion, but something deeper. Connection. The chieftain stepped forward once more. No words. None were needed. Avery smiled. Then turned. And walked toward home. But the forest, and the people within it, never truly left.